Okay, welcome back. You're still tuned in and locked on to Splash 105.5 FM. This is the Integrity Station. Now let's talk sports business. I mean, athlete branding, football agency, and all of those things in between. And, you know, in times past, like I said, football, sports generally was all about the entertainment. It was all about what happens on the pitch. It was nothing about the business side, about what makes money from it. But now it has gone from being recreational to being a multi-million-dollar sport. And with football, for instance, what goes behind the scenes is just as important as what happens on the pitch. Like they say, it is a fine blend of sports and entertainment. The transfer market, like you know, is opened, money being spent, exchanged for value, players moving here and there, and you know, all of that. What do you think of money moving on in football? And then you wonder, where does African players, African stars, where do they stand, and where at what point are they? What's the market value of African players in all of this discussion? That's why we have joining us now Drew Uyi, who is a FA licensed football agent, a brand strategist, and a PR guru. He has worked with big names and brands in African sports and entertainment industry, the likes of Ahmed Musa, Victor Moses, Odio Digalo, Afiz Zaremo, and amongst others. But then, it is with his passion for athletes branding, I think it is safe for me to refer to him as an apostle or evangelist of branding. Welcome to World Sports. How are you doing this afternoon?
Yeah, good afternoon, man.
Okay, great to have you. Great to have you join us. But let's start off this discussion with football agency. What does it mean? Is it just about having, just somebody who stands as an intermediary between players and maybe their club side? What does it mean?
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, basically, it's gone beyond just closing a contract. Football agency now has got different dimensions. So if you talk about deals, you have to think beyond just closing the deals. You have to think about football boots, football deals. Even football deals is just the norm. Branding is now the norm in football, but we still need to let our we need to educate. As you said, I'm here to educate and empower our athletes about branding. Our American counterparts have gone far with that. They've been doing a lot on branding, and yeah, if you look at it from a different perspective, if you look at it from the business perspective, you will agree with me that football is sports. Football is business. Yeah, I mean sports is business rather. Sports is business. So football is business. So if football is business, the most important thing in business nowadays is your brand. You know, so in your career, your brand is very important. So most of our players, they take it for granted. That's why they are undervalued. I would not say underpaid, but they're undervalued. And most especially during this COVID-19 period, it's a time for you to really, I tell a lot of the players, it's time for them to reflect and start, working, looking into, building their brands.
But you just spoke about how important branding is, and it's a it's closely knitted with sports and with the players themselves. I remember Tiger Woods, when he ran into issues, how the brands, some brands had to, drop him. Some were still, still standing there in between. And you also talked about African players. It's not a question of being underpaid. It's a question of being undervalued. But how do you think we can move beyond this discussion of African players being undervalued?
The honest truth is that branding has to do with trust. So many a times the Europeans, they don't really agree with some of our players with their age once they're born in Africa. So because of that, they're not sure. So sometimes we really need to brand ourselves from the beginning, from where you are when you're playing amateur football. You need to have records, have stories, So I see some players that maybe their mom is really young, and they hardly put their mom on their expose their mom or put their mom on Instagram. I say this is your selling point. Put your mom out there to show the people that are dealing with you that you're really young. But because of what have happened in the past, people they think that okay, most African players are not using their real age. So that's why I say that branding is more important. Is more important for African players than European players because they've got records. So people will work with you. People will pay your value if they trust you. But when they think that, oh, this guy we're not even sure about his age, so they won't be like really paying you what you're worth. You see, so it's really it's a broad area. Branding is really about it's reputation. So it's either you have a good reputation or you have a bad reputation. So when you start working, it's a process. When you start working on your brand, that means that you are working on your reputation. You are, and most especially, you cannot really do it yourself because if you're doing it yourself, it's like you're advertising yourself. But if someone else is doing it for you, it's like a PR. So that's the difference between PR and advertising.
And okay, but you also mentioned you've talked about how players need to put themselves out, put themselves forward. But is it in any way directly proportional to what they do on the pitch? I mean, for instance, you're a good player, you're doing very well, you're having a very good performance, maybe the best performance of your career so far. Is it directly proportional to what happens on the field, on the courts, in the gym, or all of that?
To be honest, football is played more on the media now than on the pitch. You better believe that. So you can be performing well, but if you don't put that extra touch to it, unfortunately, people will not see it. And as they say, people can only buy what they see. So you might be performing. Yeah, I don't want to call names. There are people that on top of their games, but they're not getting their attention. They're not getting what they are worth, and people are not really taking them serious. It's when you start taking your brand serious, that's when your club will take your brand serious. Like for instance, you're in a club, you need to liaise with the media team. You have to ask them for pictures. If you don't ask them, they're not going to take pictures of you. For instance, Victor Osimhen has been paid a lot of money. He's been paid a lot of money because there's a brand around him which his former club created, put together with what he was doing as well. So if his club did not do what they did, give him award, do stuff, just his performance will not take him that far.
Remember, if you're listening to us, this is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. We're also streaming live on Instagram. Search for Splash FM, and you can view us live here. We're speaking with Drew Uyi, who is FA licensed football agent and a brand specialist. Now, let's talk about social media a bit. Social media has become a very, very big part of our lives in this generation. I mean, it wasn't like this in times past, and I can imagine how difficult or thereabout it was for players in those generations back. But how much of importance does social media got, and what are the other means, other ways where an athlete can get themselves, out there apart from social media?
Social media is something. Okay, right now, if your business is not online, your business is dead. Yeah. So your football is your business, so you need to be online. At least you should be on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, Twitter. So, but some of our players are just on Instagram and they neglect the other ones. All of them are important, they all interlap and they work hand in hand. So, social media is important now. But for me, I'll say players should not dwell on Instagram a lot or social media. They should have people doing it for them. They should have at least their fan page should be buzzing, because I expect players to focus on their career, focus on their performance, but they need people around to help them out. Like I see a few players, they're making mistakes. Like they have people around them. They have maybe they move with entourage and everything, but none of the people are taking them serious, like taking care of their fan page. I'll ask them, okay, because there's some things that should not be on the footballer's page. Right? Because you are an athlete, you have to sell yourself as an athlete. You are not a musician. You are not a comedian. You see what I mean? So, but there's some stuff that you would like to put on, but if you don't put it on your page, people can still have the opportunity to see stuff about you on your fan page. That's why your fan page is there. That's why, your media is your TV, is your TV screen. So, you have to capitalize on that. You have to maximize it. So I see that a lot of players do not maximize the opportunity they have, because once the music stop playing,
That's all.
there's nothing you can. That's all. Nothing you can do. So you have to do a
life
lot
after
as
the
well.
game. Yes, I get
Yeah,
that. But
you have to do a
in
lot
this
now.
COVID-19 times, in this period where COVID-19 has stopped a lot of things, has stopped many plans. Even some clubs now, there's this talk about clubs not having the spending power like before because of the things COVID-19 has done. But do you think COVID-19 anyway has reduced the value of some of those players as well?
Well, 100%. The football industry has lost billions, so that has trickled down to the players. So it has really affected the value. So, but if a player is self-sufficient, if a player has other means of income, it shouldn't really affect them. If for argument's sake, if you have endorsement. So at this time, people say, oh, they want endorsement, But what have you done before the COVID-19? If you are a brand, it's easier for maybe your manager or your brand strategist to like sell you. But if you don't, because there are a lot of athletes that think they should have endorsement. But if they've not activated their brand, there's no way they're going to get endorsement. And endorsement, we're just looking at endorsement with endorsement. It's not about what you get. Endorsement brings traction as well, and that is what happens when you have traction. You can like your brand can outlive your career, and then after your career, you can do other stuff for yourself apart from the endorsement. Like I'll give you a little tip: if people are used to seeing you promoting a brand already, then by the time you switch to your own brand, your personal brand, people will not even take note. They will follow you as well. So, but if you don't do that while you're playing, and then after you finish your career, you want to do the catch up, then sometimes you might be a victim to scammers, and because that time you be too desperate.
Yes, indeed. But I need to let you go on the show. It's been fun chatting with you. But not before I ask you this, as a football agent, what's your opinion about the African Cup of Nations, January, February, or June, July? Which do you think is maybe best placed?
I think it should be at the same time with the other competition, but we just have to brand our own competition. We need to put a lot of efforts in doing our thing, but because sometimes if they play when the season is still going on, it affects them. The club will be giving them issues because the club are the ones that pay their salary. So when they go out of when they leave their because most of these players, they are the back rock of their team. Someone like Wilfred Ndidi, if he's off for one game, it tells and the team crumbles. So imagine Ndidi goes off from his team for like 2-3 weeks. It's for a month, and it's not going to be funny. The fans are going to be like even it will not go well with the fans, it will not go well with the club, so you affect the players' relationship too. So Africans, we should do our own thing.
Again, thank you very much. We've been chatting with Drew Uyi, who is an FA licensed agent, a brand specialist and PR guru, talking to us about athlete branding and how important it is. And one thing I'm taking from the discussion we've had now is that you don't have to be playing in the first division. You don't have to be playing at the top. I mean, from wherever you are, you can start branding yourself as an athlete, as an elite athlete, actually, to get the best when you're done with the sport. Thank you very much for being part of the show today.
Thank you. Guys, thanks for having me, and have a good day.
Thank you. All right, you too. Okay, guys, let's talk about this. How are you doing? Good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon to you, Blessing. Good afternoon to the guys in the studio.